Bombshell intelligence leaks from Discord. This is the gamer website that all of these highly classified Pentagon documents have been released on. New reports revealing that Afghanistan has now become a hotbed for terrorism again, this time with ISIS affiliate known as ISIS-K. This would be, a little bit more than a year and a half since the withdrawal from Afghanistan. And Morgan, I'm looking at the Washington Post exclusive reporting, give them credit where credit is due. Afghanistan has become a terrorism staging ground for a number of possible attacks. I'm guessing there's a lot of Republicans who are saying, I told you so.
Well, and you don't even need intelligence leaks, and you know, I'm not going to comment to the veracity of the intelligence leaks, but I would just say that you don't even need those to know what was going on in Afghanistan. You have DOD officials testifying that an ISIS-K attack or an al-Qaeda attack could be within the next 6 months, that they would have the capability to do that in the homeland. ISIS-K and al-Qaeda now operate in every single province in Afghanistan. And so, again, the signs have been there for a long time. You know, this is not, there's so much that's like, quote unquote, leaked intelligence. We'll just, you know, pick up any newspaper that reports on Afghanistan, especially the news outlets, the very few of them that are still there reporting. So this is what happens when you don't really have a plan for withdrawal. This is what happens whenever you are not prepared, as other DOD officials have testified that this NSC was not, it was clear that they weren't prepared. The State Department wasn't prepared, the DOD wasn't prepared, and that's why you saw 13 of our best young men and women, many of them who were just teenagers, who died in that disastrous pullout. And by the way, that set the chain of events that are going on around the world today. I think it's one of the reasons why Putin felt emboldened to invade in Ukraine, because they saw American fecklessness.
I mean, whatever we think of, you know, how we should have maybe kept some people in Afghanistan or whatever, the American people wanted out of Afghanistan.
True.
20 years.
True.
And Republicans had signed us up for that conflict. Now, can I ask you, because you were at the State Department, you were involved in all of this, what would the better plan have been? Because 20 years, it's like a marriage. When it falls apart, it's gonna be rough, no matter how it ends. So we were gonna get out. How could we have done it better? Because we've also got terrorism in other parts of the world, which is good that our intelligence officials are getting this and providing it, but what would have been better?
You are absolutely right. The majorities of both parties wanted us out. I think the better plan would have been to stick to the plan that was negotiated by my former boss, Mike Pompeo, in the Trump administration. In that agreement, the Taliban had to meet certain criteria in order for us to continue to scale down and to draw down. And the Biden administration could have stuck to that plan. They could have renegotiated, but there was no attempt. There was just sort of like, oh, we're getting out. And initially, remember, they wanted to do it on September 11th. They realized how terrible that actually looked. And, you know, listen, there's a whole school of thought on both sides of the aisle, foreign policy realists that want us to focus on China and thought that we were continuing to divert too many resources. If we kept 1,500, 2,000, 2,500 troops, trainers there, special operatives there, that probably could have kept the pot on a boiling lid. But by the way, there's plenty of blame to go around for Ashraf Ghani and his leadership.
Morgan, I just want to get in real quick here. This is among the many questions about Afghanistan, is really what is the ground truth there and what is happening to those tens of billions of dollars worth of U.S. weapons that are still there. Take a listen to Tim Burchett of Tennessee.
Is the Taliban giving U.S. equipment left behind other terrorist organizations or hostile countries, do you think?
Yeah, I just talked to General Sami Sadat, who was an Afghan general last week, and he said it's become basically a weapons bazaar, and the money and the equipment is going to terrorists both in country and out of country.
Special Forces teams had to buy maps at Rand McNally, which did exist back in 2001, to figure out where Afghanistan was. Nobody cared about it when it was a terrorist safe haven before 2001. Does anybody care about it until there's an attack on the homeland?
Yeah, foreign policy cannot be conducted on the basis of what's popular. You cannot conduct a popular foreign policy because the American people will tell you over and over again, do you want to take the U.S. troops out of South Korea? We're getting ready to have a state dinner this week. You want to take the U.S. troops out of South Korea? I bet that'd poll great. We're going to take them out. Do you want to take the U.S. troops out of Germany? Would poll great. A good foreign policy, a sensible foreign policy, is going to be unpopular at times. What President Trump, what President Biden were responding to, as you say, is very real. Americans were sick of it. They didn't want to do it. But when the attacks come, right? When the problem comes, that will be even more unpopular. And as a political issue, foreign policy is something where people have lots of opinions, but don't hold them very strongly unless Americans are dying, right? Unless there are casualties.
Real quick.
And then it gets hot. So that's why we rely on people of good character to be president, so that they can make these choices with a long view, not just for short-term political advantage.
And some serious issues right now as it relates to American foreign policy. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.